Alright, anyways. Here we are, back at Sequel Podcast Volume 3.
Actual number 4 this time.
This is the actual number 4.
Instead of the pseudo number 4 that we had last time.
I don't know how I got my numbers mixed up, dude. It's been a long week, so we're
Well, we skipped a week. We got fucked up.
Alright, we're trying new things today.
Trying new things.
We have our beers.
The Wild Blue Premium Blueberry Lager. Wild Blue.
It tastes like blueberry beer.
Wow. It tastes a lot like blueberry beer.
Strong.
It tastes like a giant blueberry. I'm not gonna turn into a blueberry, am I?
It's strong.
It is quite blueberry-y.
Also for Corey, I've got a Filipino fruit. Well, I can't technically say it's Filipino fruit if it's not Filipino fruit, just in case. But it is something they have a lot of in the Philippines. It's called jackfruit. And I had a little bit earlier, and my palate was not refined and used to it. It doesn't taste bad. I just wasn't used to it. He's sniffing it.
Well,
Just
it's
go
not.
ahead.
I'm just curious because this is new to me.
So eat it.
So it kind of reminds me of like
Mango.
like a pepper.
Looks like a pepper.
It
Looks like a
looks
mango.
like a pepper, mango-y. It doesn't have a real strong smell.
To it. It's got a strong flavor. No real reaction. Oh, there it is. There it is. It tastes normal at first, and then it kind of tastes different, but not bad.
Yeah, it's an odd flavor.
Yeah.
I mean, it would probably be better in something.
Yeah.
Like I would probably make like a topping out of it. You know, like maybe.
Oh, fucking baker over here, motherfucker.
Like dice it up and put some sugar, because it's not real super sweet. It's kind of, I don't want to say bland because it has its own flavor.
Oh yeah.
But it's not
Tangy.
It's not spiky on one end or the other. You know what I mean? It's not super anything, and it does have kind of a strange flavor that I'm not used to.
Right.
Like I said, it's not bad. It's just something I'm not used to.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Our American palates do not.
Yeah, we're used
Comprehend.
to drinking fucking overly blueberry beer.
This is a first for you, apparently.
Trash can beer.
It's got a dog on it, like he's shitting the fucking blueberry.
Yeah, I don't know if he shit the blueberry or kicked it.
Looks more like he kicked it. It looks like it's coming at him. I don't know.
That's hard to say. It is 8% alcohol by volume, so that's a good start. And it actually grows on you. This reminds me of a port wine. You ever had port before?
Oh, Mr. Fancy's.
I'm just saying there are
I've
different
never had a
kinds.
port.
Okay,
I've never
port
had a port.
wine is, if I'm not mistaken, is a dessert wine. And you think, a dessert wine, what the fuck is the point, right? Because you drink red wine and you get that bitter, dry, spiky flavor. And then you have a white wine and it's a little sweeter. It's
Well, see, I've never really had
softer.
white wine.
Okay.
I've had plenty of red wine, and I don't like it one bit.
Okay, so port wines are really sweet. You can't drink them by themselves. They're designed to go with sweet desserts.
Oh,
So
you gotta
if you eat, like, say, a cheesecake, there's a really rich cheesecake or chocolate cake or whatever it is, you take a bite of the cheesecake, and that it sounds funny, but it presets your palate with the sweet flavor from the dessert, and then you take a drink of the wine, and the flavor of the wine isn't washed away by the sweetness like a regular wine would be, because it's sweet on top of the flavor of the wine.
Right.
So when you eat a sweet dessert and then drink
They kind
the
of blend
port
together.
wine, they work together, and that's why they're pairing. But you
Well,
drink
what
the
do
port
they say?
wine with the dessert. Yeah.
Drink wine and cheese.
Yeah, and there's cheeses and wines that go together well. And it's because the flavors complement each other, and it's all about palate design. It's strange. Not really a fucking buff.
And
but
they say that our taste buds change every 7 years on top of that. So if you
Oh,
don't
really?
like something one decade, try it again in another.
You know, and that's actually really true, because there are a lot of things I didn't used to eat.
Well, a lot of things people don't eat when they're kids.
Yeah.
And
And
then
then,
suddenly they're teenagers that eat them.
Yeah.
They're adults that eat something else.
like oatmeal. I would not eat oatmeal when I was a kid.
Now you eat them all the time.
And no, I don't. It's not my favorite food, but it doesn't gross me out like it used to.
Right.
You know,
It's healthy.
yeah, it's healthy.
It's
It's got a good complex carbohydrate. You know,
Yeah.
sticks with you
So here we are today with our podcast.
with our podcast.
We had some homework. We were supposed to watch the Neil Blomkamp.
I call it
Blomkamp.
Blomkamp.
The Neil Blomkamp trilogy, and I will admit that I only watched 2 of the movies.
That's
And I know you watched 2 last episode.
So we're even now.
Did you watch the 3rd movie?
I never did. I watched all 3 Neil Blomkamps.
Right.
I didn't go backwards because I didn't want to.
Did you watch District 9?
Yes.
You went back and rewatched it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I watched District 9 yesterday.
I did not rewatch Chappie. Now, the irony in this is that we were talking about Chappie before wanting to redo a podcast. Now, I don't remember why. I was like, okay, I'll give it another shot. But I didn't give it another shot. Instead, I chose to watch No Country for Old Men tonight instead of Chappie. But we won't go into No Country for Old Men. We'll save that for the next episode.
Okay.
But I did see Chappie in theaters. I do remember the movie.
Right,
It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah. That was only a year ago.
It's starting to feel a little warm and fuzzy inside.
It's because you're a lightweight.
Well, you know, I haven't eaten anything in 3 hours.
Well, that probably has something to do with it. So I did watch all 3 of them.
You watched all 3 of them.
Yeah.
But I did rewatch District 9.
I actually
rewatched Elysium. Amazing movie.
I really like that movie.
Fucking amazing, fucking intense. And you know, I've got this awesome TV where I feel like the people are right there
Because
acting it out.
you got the is it a 48 or is it a 52 wraparound?
65.
It's a 65. Holy shit! It doesn't look that big. I'm not saying that it's not what you say it is.
That's not impressive.
It's because of the design.
I've
the
never
change in design
seen
of the
such
screen.
a clear picture in my life.
Well, I'll have to road test that because I'm in the market for a new TV myself.
You know what sucks is about not watching Chappie is out of that 3-disc set, Chappie is 4K.
Whereas the other 2 aren't.
The other 2 aren't, and that's a 4K TV.
So Elysium looked fucking completely awesome
It looked
on
amazing.
the TV,
It looked super
and you still
amazing.
didn't get to see the 4K. So you're just like, if your mind was blown before,
Watching it in 4K, it'll be
you're
like,
oh my god. You have to be showing them your elf
it'll be like in Batman Forever, where they have the TV images that,
beam straight into their brain cavity.
which still hasn't happened.
Right.
We have 3D TVs that suck.
You know, I've never actually spent any time watching a 3D TV.
Neither have I. I can't
comment.
say that it sucks, but I can't imagine that it's any better.
I've seen 3D stuff,
movies.
movies in the theater.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat, but I don't think it's worth the price of admission.
Or the headache that you get.
Yeah. So,
out of the 3 movies, I am. You know, rewatching District 9, I've got a new respect for that movie too.
so do I. I saw District 9 when it came out,
Yeah, that was the last time I watched it.
and when
Like
it came
09.
out, I don't know a lot about Blomkamp's history, but
I believe it was a short film first,
okay,
and that got him the funding he needed to full on.
okay.
We're
that
just supposed to
makes
do some
sense.
Blomkamp research.
I was, and I didn't. So now we're even.
All right, even on what? There wasn't another even thing.
Whatever.
Now you're low.
Now I'm low again.
You're low again.
I'm a bastard.
I believe it was a short film. Peter Jackson clearly produced that movie,
Right.
as his name was the first name to come up on the credits.
But I remember getting it on DVD when it first came out and watching it, being like, oh, this is cool, you know. And it was like the new sci-fi thing. They were trying to come back with aliens and doing weird stuff again because we hadn't really seen a lot of that at that point. There's, I don't know, you kind of had the old Alien movies.
It seemed like every movie. No, that was the year of Alien movies because there was
Right,
like
but
Battle
that
Los
was-
Angeles.
Right. Which I think was
You had Avatar from the Aliens director himself,
right.
Mr. James Cameron. I mean, that was the big year for Aliens, and District 9 was the low budget, little independent film that could.
And I think it contended well with those other big name films.
And, you know, watching it like this on this TV, those aliens look even better than they did on the big screen. They looked even more real. And I don't know how they did it. Being a small, independent, first-time filmmaker.
The creatures, the action, the motion, the personality of each one of the creatures that you get to see.
Particularly the guy with the kid, the dad.
The dad with the Marty McFly vest.
And you know, there was something, you know, I noticed in this movie. You know, let's just try and do what we can. This may not make sense. This may not be linear enough for everybody, but like, let's just go with this.
All right, let's go with it.
The dad and the kid, they both have like tags on their heads.
I noticed that they had like a
Kind of
white
like a license plate, yellow, I think it was.
Okay, well, I was watching.
Or maybe it was
it
white.
looked white, like white black with black letters.
Like
to
it
me.
was a tag.
Like a tag, but it looked like it was like stenciled onto their head.
Yeah.
And
It looked kind of like a license plate.
I didn't really get.
They never.
any
I
meaning
mean,
from it.
there is a lot going on that they didn't really come up with.
Sure.
I mean, it starts out like a documentary style movie,
Right.
and then it goes into.
At the beginning, they're talking about. I forget the main character's name because.
They say it the entire fucking
Yeah,
time.
they do. Anyway, the main
Charles
character.
Copley's character.
Yes. They're talking about him like the events have already unfolded. So
Yes, because they
that,
talk about
that
like
to me is it
no
was
one
kinda,
knew what he was gonna do.
Well, they talk about it like it's over already.
Yes.
And then we get to follow the story as it actually unfolds. Kind of going, I guess we go back in time from the telling of the.
Right.
the
So
initial
we get
story.
the beginning of the documentary. They cut out the middle of the documentary just to take us into the action as it's happening
Right.
in a past tense kind of form.
Which I think was a cool format. Because
Rose didn't really like that bit. Not that, you know,
Sure.
but I mean, to get a different perspective, like she was like, "What is this shit?" She's like, "This didn't really happen. This didn't really happen." And then it cut into the movie, and she watched it. She didn't really like the movie,
Right.
long story short. But once it cut out of that documentary stuff, she started to pay a little bit more attention.
Gotcha. I find my wife doesn't like the way they jump around in time.
In
Like,
any
it,
movie,
like it, yeah,
Or
if
just
it
in a
happens in a
particular-
movie, like if they go back and forth, they get a flashback, or like in District 9.
She didn't like God Salt.
We won't talk
me.
about that. She thought, yeah.
I don't
was
get
hard-
it.
I don't get it. It was hard to follow.
That's my go-to make fun of chicks.
I don't get it.
I've got
You better be careful.
friends.
You better be careful. She listens to this.
no, I've got these friends like. Let me throw a little shout out to my friends Katrina and Samantha. I like to make fun of Katrina when I'm talking to Samantha. Like she's like, "Oh, I showed her this movie, or we were watching this, or the first time we were watching Game of Thrones." And I was like, "Oh," and she's like, "I don't get it."
I don't get it.
But she's like, no, it's cool. I like it. But no, that's my go-to. I don't get it. Like the typical girlfriend type person. Not that Katrina is, but there are those chicks out
Right.
there that are like, "Oh my god, do you like this?" I don't get it.
I don't get it. I saw
Vicus. Vicus is the name of Charlotte
Okay.
Copley's character. Anyways, you saw?
I saw it was a stupid Facebook meme, and there's stick figures, and obviously one's a guy and the other one's his girlfriend, and the guy is sitting on the couch, and he's like, hey, this is my absolute favorite movie, right? You've seen this.
I haven't seen it, but
It's like, this is my
I know
favorite.
the
This is my
story.
favorite movie. Will you watch it with me? Because I want to share this experience with you.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like building a picture, and then the next one, the next cell in the cartoon shows her like trying to snuggle with him. And,
that's
like,
not a
burying
stick
her
figure.
head.
That's an
Is
actual drawing.
Is that an actual drawing?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's just like, "Oh, let's watch this cool movie," you
Yeah.
know. And then she's kind of like,
And then she's
trying
like-
to kissing on him. She can't get in the right position. She fell asleep, and then
And
she's
she
like,
wakes
"Oh,
up.
it's
It's
over."
like I don't understand what's going on. And all the time he's like,
Like,
you're going to miss the best part. You're going to miss the
plot points,
yeah.
plot points.
Yeah. So I find that happens frequently with movies that I like, perhaps, that maybe the ladies,
I think
the wife doesn't like.
Everyone in a relationship watching a movie with their significant other can relate to that comic strip.
Absolutely.
Probably on both sides.
Absolutely.
Probably on both sides. I mean, you know, you sit down to watch Message in a Bottle.
Yes.
Have you sat down to watch Message in a Bottle?
No.
Okay.
I have seen The Notebook, which made me cry.
You know, Notebook's good.
I cried at the end of that movie.
Do we need to cut this part out?
I cried at the end of Terminator 2 too. So when I was young.
You got it.
Yeah. So anyway.
Anyways, District 9. Vicus is the name of Charlotte Copley's character, and you know what? They set him up to be a dumbass.
They show him.
It's like they gave, like the father-in-law gave him the job because he needed someone to do his dirty work, and Vicus is kind of, he's not slow, but he doesn't catch on to everything.
He's trying to
right
impress
away.
Dad. He's has a somewhat important job. He wants to be. I know what it feels like to be in front of a father-in-law, and you maybe don't need to impress the father-in-law, but you want to show him, hey, look, I can do this. I'm good at this. You know, I'm taking care of business. I'm taking care of your little girl or whatever it is. And I get that from his character. Like, he's not really bright enough to have gotten that job on his own.
Right, but he also is not bright enough to understand what he's doing is wrong. He was told to get these guys out.
He hasn't put that together, and I think that's where you get the character growth.
You see that he's smart enough to understand, but he's just that much slow to not.
That one little piece of humanity that he's
You
missing.
know, the guy that gets the contract, reads everything, understands it, but misses the fine print.
Yeah.
You gonna say something?
No.
But you know, District 9 is set up as a movie that's kind of it's setting a statement about immigration.
Yes.
With the backdrop of aliens, you know, and you know this isn't the first movie to do it because in the movie Alien Nation, it's the same thing.
Absolutely.
Did you see the movie Alien Nation?
Not a long time.
It's the same thing. These aliens come in, they
remember
immigrate
I used
over.
to watch the TV show.
TV show is a big thing.
Okay, I used to watch a TV series when I was younger.
And it's like they're setting up the aliens as if they are Mexicans in East LA. No, not the Indians, because the white people came over, dude.
The white people came over to us.
No, it's like they set up a slum for these aliens, which they call prawns, which is, as we know, what we call shrimp, because they kind of have this shrimpy looking.
They have a shrimpy looking face.
A maw that looks fucking all shrimpy and.
The interesting part that I thought was all of the human interaction with the prawns. The prawns speak in their own language,
and they kind of get it. The humans kind of get it,
and the humans understand the language
a little bit.
To an extent.
Some
of the humans
kind
more
of
than
like,
others.
Very similar to the way we're now, us as Americans, and I'm not trying to, you know, put a match under anyone's feet here. We understand Spanish now because we see Spanish everywhere. You got English and Spanish.
Sure. And what do they call it? Submersion. Immersion, not submersion.
Yeah, we're not getting it.
No, we're not. Okay, breathe Spanish! So yeah, the immersion culture is functional that way.
Yeah,
so
we're immersed in Spanish. I mean,
obviously in this movie, you know,
it's been like 20 years.
Yeah, they've been there for a long time.
20 years,
and
because they say that he's been building this thing for 20 years.
Right.
The thing drops and it's underground, and he's fixing it for 20 years so they can go home. They never really say why they're there, unless I missed it. Because he's trying to build the ship to go home, to come back and get people.
He's not building a ship. He's fixing the shuttle.
You got 5-10 guys jump into a pickup truck. They go over the border and they're stuck because the tire goes flat. They don't know what to do. They don't speak any English. You know, it's like, okay, we'll take care of you. You know, it seems like maybe that was a situation. They were flying across the galaxy. They hit a planet, and They didn't
It was
have
habitable, but they couldn't get home from.
right. So we go up there, we cut them out of the ship, and we're like, okay, you can take this shithole as your own.
Well, and what I didn't understand, I guess, about the universe was that the humans, we were keeping them there. Humans were keeping them there,
Opposed to
as opposed to helping them fix their ship or giving them, you know what I mean? Like, there's such a burden to be.
and, you know, that's kind of the thing with his movies a little bit, is that you kind of he sits there and, you know, watching this one, watching Elysium, having seen Choppy, like he made the movies he wanted to make. I don't see
Absolutely.
any kind of studio interference. It looks like they all look like perfect movies for him.
Sure.
As the audience member, we have to take some really leaps and bounds in the liberties and the suspense of disbelief.
Absolutely. You know, and
Because they don't give us a lot of information. And you know what? If we understand the language, they haven't told us by now why they were there. They haven't said, hey, you know, we got stuck.
right.
And it's like, well, let's try and take what kind of equipment you have up there and fix it so that we can get you back there, we can help each other. Instead, it's just like,
Well,
oh,
what it
great,
turned
it's
in-
another group of fucking minorities that we have
Well,
to
what
kick
it
around.
turned into was the military-industrial complex of South Africa, which is where this film is made, where all the Camp shit's made is in South Africa.
Did he make
That's-
Elysium in South Africa? Because it takes place in Los Angeles.
Okay, well, it's made in South Africa, I believe,
Mm-hmm.
because
South Africa posing as LA.
it's posing as a post.
Shooting South Africa for LA.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, District 9 and Chappie actually take place
In South
in
Africa.
South Africa, and they're actually filmed in South Africa, and that's the actual place.
Right.
But I think in Elysium,
And you know, the fun thing,
Go
in
ahead.
Elysium, it's full of a bunch of, you know, and not that this is a bad thing, but it's full of a bunch of Mexicans.
yeah,
And they're all the bad people. You
yeah,
got a big
well,
circle of whites, and then you've got a shithole of
Oh.
low income, white people, or Mexicans. Well, in fact, you
Right.
got one white guy running around, and then a bunch of Mexicans.
well, sure.
Not that I'm trying to offend anyone. This is the movie and how it is.
I don't think we have to go that far.
Okay. Just in case.
But
For my
All of
Mexican
his
friends. I do
movies-
have Mexican friends, Corey. In fact,
I have Mexican
most
friends.
of my coworkers who I consider friends are Mexican. In fact,
Absolutely. No, it's,
are there any white people?
no, there are no white people that work for JCPenney Warehousing Corporation Industrial Complex.
Right. All the white people are the supervisors.
Mm-hmm. Promoted to the highest level of inefficiency.
Oh, God, don't get me started. Even fucking get me started. Because I've had a real shitty week at work, dude. And it's mostly because of that highest
It's
level
because of
of
the
efficiency.
fucking white people.
That's right. It's because of the fucking white people.
So,
Anyways,
back on topic slightly.
here we are hitting about a third or so way into this, and we're still only on the first movie. Go on.
I'm going on. So, the
Carry
military
on,
industrial
my way,
complex within District 9, they want the weaponry. You
Yes.
see inside the laboratory where they're dissecting these
And the
prawns.
militant Africans also want it. The militant savages.
Exactly. And
They're
those are-
eating aliens in order to get their
They
power.
want their powers so that they can. So I can become like you.
What did you do? I'm going to eat you.
So I want
Schwarzenegger
that arm so I can eat it and become like you. You had your turn, now it's my turn.
Oh my god.
So basically, what I think this boils down to is the aliens have something they want. They have technology that the aliens have technology that we don't understand. We don't have intergalactic travel.
No.
We don't have these high power energy weapons.
Which I don't understand why. Like,
Why don't they just use that shit? Fuck up the humans. Boom. They win.
right, and you know that's that suspense of disbelief. They've got all
Exactly.
Why, you know,
Because they're actually peaceful and they don't want trouble.
if they're so peaceful, why do they have the guns?
Well, I'm a peaceful person. I have guns. I don't go around shooting people for no reason.
I understand
Protection.
that. No.
Protection.
I understand that and everything else like that. Sure. But they've got some pretty powerful weapons.
They've got some powerhouse shit.
Yeah.
I like my specific favorite is that one that has like a fucking lightning bolt that comes out of it, and it just pops the guy, just like a fucking
vaporized,
and it just squirts shit everywhere.
Like in The Rock, it's vaporized.
It's vaporized.
Like they happen. Yeah, that can happen.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, absolutely vaporized. So.
Are we done talking about this?
I think so. I mean, basically, what it boils down to is this guy learns.
He learns that people aren't so different.
They're not, and even if you're an alien from another galaxy, you know they come together.
Got a son.
They come together under common understanding that hey, you know, I have my people to take care of my son. You know, I miss home.
Although he was so he fucked him over, man.
Oh, absolutely.
Because he was like, "Fuck you." And then he went down. He fucked up his ship.
He's like, I'm gonna go up there and fix my own goddamn arm. And he gets up and they fucking hit it with a surface-to-air missile and
he crashes.
Yeah.
Oh man, he fucked it up.
Exactly, and I'm surprised.
So he wasn't so good then.
No, because he was still learning. He was still growing. I think 90% of the growth happens in the last 20 minutes of the movie. Personally. For that character, because both characters grow.
Alright, here. Final thought. Can he... Alright, so spoiler alert.
For a 10-year-old movie.
Oh, God, dude. It's not quite 10 years yet. Dude.
Not yet, but it's
2009, okay?
It's getting close.
2009. Don't even fucking talk to me about these fucking decade-old movies that are hitting their 10th anniversary. Fucking 10th anniversary movies.
Who fucking counts to 10 anyway? Okay, final thought.
So, spoiler alert, Vicus, you know, he's hit with a thing. It's like a gasoline.
All their technology works on biological interaction.
And so
you can't shoot the gun unless you have alien biology.
Right. Maybe that's what we're supposed to be doing. But really, honestly, only Americans are shooting our guns.
I wouldn't say that.
So he gets hit with this thing and he starts turning into an alien.
Sure.
And at the end of the movie, the dude's like, okay, I'll be back in 3 years. It takes me a year and a half to get there. It's going to take me a year and a half to get back with my military to destroy you guys. To get my people back. Essentially, I don't see it boiling down to anything else. I don't see a fucking peace group coming in to get their guys back. It has to be with force. Has to be.
Absolutely. Unless there could be a, kind of an open floor before they get back and say, hey, look,
they're on their way.
We're coming back and we're going to pick up our people and you're either going to give them to us nicely
the easy way
or the hard
way.
The hard was that was Pulp Fiction, wasn't it? The easy way.
What was that Casino? It's probably Casino. I don't think it's Pulp Fiction. Anyway. So this opens up a couple things. They know that dude left, and they think and
he took the fucking mothership.
The guy even says, is he gonna come back with a bunch of soldiers? Now, the dude looked like he was dying, if not
he didn't look
dead.
like he was in good shape.
Like he might not survive the trip.
But they have medical equipment on the ship. He was talking about the medical equipment on the ship that could fix him up.
Okay.
So maybe they were just like trying to escape low Earth, low Earth
Why
orbit.
Why does he take the other guys with him?
I don't know, man. He takes stealing the fucking Titanic so that you and your kid could go to 7-Eleven, It's kind of
to go get the Funyuns and bring them back.
Funyuns.
All right, so we don't know if he died. Honestly, like if they wouldn't show him dying, and then be like, "Oh yeah," once it ended, he was fine. He fixed himself with equipment. So the purpose of that, it seemed like they want us to show that he died. Probably is not going to come back in the 3 years to fix him, because he's like,
Sure.
hey, this dude over here. It was like, he said he'd fix me. Yeah, sure, buddy. Okay, we gotta save you. You look like one of us. We're taking you.
Yeah.
It's like have you seen Cool Hand Luke?
No.
Well, it's a movie about a bunch of guys in like a prison farm.
Okay.
And they do a bunch of road work. And they're fucking with the new guys. And he's like, oh man, I wouldn't want to be out there today on the heat, my back's hurting, he's like, it's a good thing I'm doing this job. And he's like, I'd give it up for, a buck or so. And he's like, oh, I got a buck, I'll do it. He's like, yeah, no, you can take my job then, here you go. And then, the guy's like, oh, I was talking to a good old boy in there. He said he gave him, I gave him $1. He's like, I don't care, get your, the cop's like, fuck you, get over there and do what I tell you to do.
Right.
So, there's no way these aliens, if that guy dies, is going to fix Vickus.
Exactly.
And Vickus, at the end of the movie, is a full-on alien.
Yeah, he's completely transformed.
So he's got to sit like there for 3 years while his wife thinks he's dead.
I mean, he already likes cat food now, so...
Oh, he loves cat food.
Yeah, who doesn't?
So she's gonna move on.
Absolutely, and that's your typical sad ending, happy ending. He's alive.
It
she's
was
alive.
a fucked up sad ending.
It was, and this is what we were talking about initially before we started. When we fired the podcast back up, was Blowcamp's endings, and that was the main topic of discussion that we had before.
Chappie. Now,
Chappie.
hold on now.
Okay.
Going back and watching Elysium in District 9.
You retract that fucking statement, don't you?
But not for Chappie.
You didn't like Chappie?
No, I like Chappie.
You didn't like
just
the ending?
fine. I didn't like the ending.
Okay. Let's skip to Chappie.
Elysium's perfect.
Elysium was perfect. Do you want to talk about Elysium first?
No, we can talk about Chappie because that's the main issue. Honestly, by and large, Elysium's a beautiful film. Perfect movie. Gorgeous on the TV. Gorgeous in Blu-ray. Fucking amazing fucking movie. I fucking love it. Matt Damon dies.
Yeah, I have no problem with the ending.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert.
Matt Damon dies. He dies, saving everybody. Now,
he saves the entire planet.
Okay, hold on.
Making
No, let's talk about this
Okay.
person. Let's talk about this
Okay, here
person.
we go.
Okay, now I've got a point. So in Elysium, everyone is hooked up into technology. Everyone's bioorganic. They're all cybernetic now. So, the plot of the movie is basically Halo. No, that's also something I want to talk about too. Fuck, there's a lot to talk about. So in Elysium, okay, Earth sucks, so they created a space station for people who are rich, so they don't have to live in the shithole that is Earth.
Rich people lifeboat.
All right, so now there was one rich dude who owns a company who happens to be on Earth at this point in time to make sure everything's running smoothly. It didn't really explain why he was there, but he did make like, hey, I'm here because I need to save the company that I built.
Well, the company that he owns is a defense
They make the cop
company
robots.
that makes the cop robots that keep the people.
Not unlike Chappie.
Not unlike Chappie. And I believe across all three movies that Tetraball is a part of each of the movies in some way.
Tetraball?
Tetraball is the name of the company that makes Chappie.
Okay.
Makes the
And is Tetraball the
the
company
scout.
that William Fichtner owns? The rich dude? Is that his company?
Tetraball is the name of the companies / laboratories inside the MNU in District 9 that's doing the weapons research.
Okay. So all three movies relate.
Yeah, all three movies relate with, at the very least, the company Tetraball, or the entity of
Not
Tetraball.
having done any research to find out what the connections are beyond Tetraball, based on having seen all three movies, you caught that.
I have seen that correlation be made before.
Okay.
And I actually tried to pay attention to it throughout the series.
This recent rewatch
This recent
to see
rewatch
if there's any
of all
more
these
connections.
movies, and you can see Tetraball banners. Because Tetraball is the big name corporation in Chappie. That's out front. They know that it's not a secret. Nobody's hiding it. And then in District 9,
You caught it this time.
I can see banners and things spray painted, various logoed of Tetravol throughout the laboratory scene when they're trying to break out and get the canister back with the alien goo.
With the gasoline.
The alien gasoline.
Anyways, so so the dude owns a company that creates the robots, and he's down there to make sure things are running smoothly.
He's
now,
trying to make things profitable again.
Now, Jodie Foster plays. So up in this sphere, this lifeboat, the president's up there, and Jodie Foster plays
She's the Secretary of Defense.
Secretary of Defense, and she's like, "Hey, homeboy, William Fichtner, I need to get rid of this president and put in a president that's gonna play ball." And so the dude uploads all the codes and everything for the thing so that they can kind of start creating a coup. And so he uploads it into his head, and what he sets is a virus to where if that information is stolen and opened and uploaded, it's gonna
kill the person that's doing
it. Now Matt Damon is just some lowly fucking white trash worker that dreams of going to, what is it called? Elysium. The title of the fucking movie. Oh my god.
That one movie?
Oh my god.
I watched that one time.
Fuck. And so he's a fucking factory worker at, the company that
Tetravol,
that the homeboy fucking owns. And his boss, a little fucking pallet gets stuck in the door before it gets irradiated.
All of the robots, which I didn't understand fully why they would do that, but they heavily irradiate all of the robot soldiers before they remove them from the...
Is it like a final seal, maybe?
I think
that's the best I can come up with.
It doesn't even make sense, though. It's almost like they're disinfecting it, like a hardcore disinfectant system.
Because that's what's needed, right?
I guess. If you want to fucking kill everybody with radiation poisoning.
To me, what I got was it's like a final seal and everything.
Sure, we'll call it that.
And he fucking goes in. The door closes on him, gets irradiated because his boss was like, "If you don't fucking do it, I'll get someone that does. You're fired." And for some reason, they're like, "You have exactly 5 days to live. Here are some pills."
Yeah.
And it's not like he starts melting or anything like that. He's fine.
He just starts getting radiation sickness, which he doesn't have any hair, so it can't fall out. So he just starts getting sick.
And
weak and throwing up. It'd be like anybody who went through radiation.
I kind of forgot why I wanted to harp on this.
Why you wanted to harp on
where the connect was with Choppy. I forgot now.
When we started talking about the ending. And
no, because we were going to skip the Choppy, but then something clicked that I wanted to talk about.
I ruined it.
No, you didn't ruin it. I just forgot because there's a lot to talk about. It's a heavy plot.
It is heavy.
Okay, so anyways,
we were talking about the dichotomy between the poor people and the rich people. Oh, we were talking about why don't they just fix everybody? Because that's what Matt Damon ends up doing.
No. We weren't even talking. We didn't get that yet.
We were headed there.
Okay, so anyways,
that's what sets you off.
No, I don't think that was because I don't even remember that coming up. Now, so Matt Damon, the big boss guy is like, fucking get him out of there before he fucking starts pissing and shitting all over because he's irradiated. So Matt Damon's got a vendetta against him. Now, he suddenly has very little life to live. He's going to do whatever it takes to get up to Elysium and use the instant miracle beds that cure everything.
The instant miracle tanning beds.
Oh, that's...
Which I thought was pretty awesome. I'd take one of those.
So, he goes back to his old boss and he's like, "Dude, whatever you need me to do." And the dude's like, "Okay, cool.
I got a job for you. Take this motherfucker out."
No. I want you to go and steal some corporate secrets. Okay, I guess. So Matt Damon's like, "I know exactly who. This guy, because he was my boss. Fuck him." So it was just a series of unfortunate events and coincidences that led him to getting the exact guy that he did not want to do it to. But he does do it to that guy. Guy gets killed, steals all his information, makes it up to Elysium so that he can fix the daughter of the girlfriend he had as a child, not being able to fix himself, so it was a huge catch-22 situation, but he was very much willing to sacrifice himself to save the little girl and to save the entire planet Earth. Now, I don't know where this protocol came in, but somewhere along the lines, there is some kind of failsafe that allows every single human being ever.
It's not a failsafe. The way
Failsafe is the wrong word.
Right. Okay. So the way this final protocol that sends the ships, the lifeboats down to Earth from Elysium, that is programmed by one of the henchmen that goes up to Elysium with Matt Damon. One of the Mexicans that's in the crew.
Right.
He's the computer guy. He's the one that's supposed to upload the information that's in Matt Damon's head.
Right.
Because they know if they go upload this information, that it's going to cause basically a reboot of their system so that they can put in any president that they want. And the president makes the rules. So he uploads this information. He makes himself the president. He changes the directives so that...
Oh, he made himself president.
Basically, he made himself the president. He changed the directives. The directives of Elysium were to treat citizens of Elysium only. The directive that he inputted into the system after the reboot was that all human beings are citizens of Elysium.
Hi.
Hello.
Want to try it?
Of course.
It's hot. Very hot.
We're fixing to go round 2.
Oh, okay. And you don't have to eat it if you don't like it.
Should we let it cool first?
I like it hot.
Maybe a fuzz.
Do you like it hot?
Yeah, but...
Some like it
Some
hot.
like it hot.
It's really too hot.
It's really.
I can see it steaming. All right, thank you very much. Is
Thank
everything
you.
going okay out there? Need anything?
Cleaning up.
You good? Okay. Elysium.
So that's how that happens.
Okay, yeah, I get all that. That's all there.
It's not just this magical directive. It's
No,
just,
it
he
actually kind of
inputs it
is.
in now.
I understand he inputs it in.
He changes the
But
citizenship
suddenly, like,
requirements.
oh, we have these crews at the ready to fly down with all these machines to start helping everybody. And it just seems kind of like these magical miracle machines that magically just fix everything.
Well, fucking Elysium, everybody has one in their house.
Everyone has one in their house.
If you get a little melanoma going, you just go in the little fucking magic tanning bed and it fixes you right up.
Fixes you right up. Magically. Like, there's no explanation.
It's nanotechnology, I'm sure.
Like, okay, I buy that, you know, and I was talking about this last night. I was like, we were watching this TV show where they're talking about people freezing themselves in hopes that one day they'll be fixed.
Sure.
Like, you know, it's like, I would love to be able to do that and go 500 years in the future. Maybe we've got flying cars, maybe everything, all the diseases are gone and everything like that.
Maybe in 500 years there's nobody to wake your ass up.
Or any kind of thing, but like, that's the dream, is that one day technology will be so advanced that they've figured those things out along the way.
Sure.
So maybe in the world of Elysium, they've made a tanning bed that fixes everything. So if they can make a tanning bed that can cure disease, they can't figure out how to fix the Earth? What was it that broke the Earth to begin with? Chappie?
Good point.
Like, they explained at the
Oh,
beginning. They explained at the beginning of the movie that there was something that happened.
Right, and it was probably...
Was it like World War III? Was that what it was?
I don't recall that specific description.
It was
Of
something
what
like that.
actually
It was like
happened,
something
but-
happened and everything turned to shit.
Right.
But yet they were able to make the coolest fucking sphere
Well, they were probably working on that before.
prior to, and they're like, you know what? It's cool. We'll finish it.
Lifeboat.
Lifeboat.
And that's one of the biggest points that I would like to make right now.
The biggest bullshit point.
No, it's something that is very relevant to everyday life, to everybody in the world. And that is that
Winter is coming.
winter is coming. No, those who are rich and have the power to do things that, whatever the fuck they want to do. Okay? Think about all the rich people. Rich people have fucking money to go.
How much money is the United States in debt?
$19 trillion, roughly.
Right, and if we get all the billionaires and all the millionaires, we can
They
wipe out
don't.
that debt.
They don't have enough money to pay that money back.
Really?
Yeah. You know how much $1 trillion is?
Yeah, it's a few more zeros on the end of a billion.
It's a lot. It's a fucking shitload. It's a metric shitload. But what happens is you have rich people that aren't affected by economic swing, like regular working class people are. This system that we live in is designed to keep us where we are, in general.
It's
To
keep
keep-
you in
to
our
keep-
place.
To keep everyone in the caste or the class that they belong to. You know, we were all born into. Well, I say we were all born into, but the ones.
Everyone was born into their
Everyone who was
blue
born
collar,
into,
white
yeah,
collar, middle class, upper class, lower class.
you're born into where you are. Now there are people who climb out of that and they make themselves rich. Okay, that can happen, and I'm not saying that nobody can do it. I'm not saying that I can't do it.
We're working on it.
We're trying like a motherfucker. But what I am saying is that the majority of people, if you live your life under normal circumstances, day to day, you go to work, you pay your bills, you buy a house, you have kids, you have a fucking dog, a yard, whatever, you are never going to exceed that level of expectation in your life. You can't. You can't keep going. You can't, well, I'm going to get a raise, I'm going to get a promotion, and one of these days I'm going to be a fucking millionaire. That never happens. You cannot do that. You will never be a fucking millionaire if you have a job. I'm going to throw that out there right now. If you have a job, you're never going to be a millionaire. Now, you have to figure out how to make money while you're not making money.
No shit. You gotta figure a way out of the hole that you've dug yourself into.
You have to have people making money for you. But I think that Elysium, District 9, Chappie illustrate this point, among other movies that I would love to discuss on this specific topic. But Justin Timberlake in Out of Time.
Out of time, sure.
Also, another fantastic
Sci-fi.
sci-fi future thriller, action flick kind of, that displays this point I'm talking about. I mean, to a T. The system is designed so that you have to really fucking nail it and get lucky to get out of this hole that you're in. And I'm not saying our lives are bad. We're not in a bad place. We have our lives. Our lives are what they are. We're used to that. But imagine what your life would be like if you had so much money that who gives a fuck what you buy or how much you spend? You imagine a life where you don't have to worry about how much money you spend.
You watched that movie Wolf on Wall Street. Have you seen that?
I have not seen that.
And it's a bunch of people
It's
that
on my
have too
list.
much money. They don't even know what to do with it. They're fucking off. They're fucking around. They're throwing out money here and there.
They're burning it. They wipe their ass with it. They throw it around the room. Who fucking cares?
Absolutely. Everyone, you see those movies where people are like, I've got so much money, but I don't really know happiness to get my happiness.
Which is bullshit.
Because we live in a society where everything costs money. The roof over our head, the food in our mouths, it all costs money.
Now think about how much money it costs you just to go to work every day. How much money does it cost you to go to work?
It costs me my paycheck to go to work. It costs me the paycheck that I earn at work to go to work. Because if I didn't have a job, I couldn't pay for the stuff I have. But if I didn't have the stuff that I had, I wouldn't be able to have the job that I do.
There you
Catch
go.
22.
Before I
It
started,
makes me sick.
before I had my back surgery, the salary that I was bringing home was enough to pay for the fuel for my wife and I to drive to work 5 days a week, and plus gas for the weekends and shit, and for my son to go to daycare. That's how much money I made. I made just enough money to pay for gas and
By
daycare.
the skin of your teeth.
My wife's money, that money paid for the house and the groceries and all that other shit, and I made a little money on the side and stuff like that, so it was not 100% useless that I had a job. But if you look at that, I mean, you're spending $20,000 plus a year on fucking gasoline and daycare.
No one said it was
It's fucking
free to live.
ridiculous. No, absolutely not. So I think those movies illustrate that point perfectly. Elysium,
Poverty.
Elysium especially, because they have the technology and the ability to bring those people up to their level, to the level of health and fitness that those people enjoy.
It wasn't going to
On
hurt
Elysium.
anybody to heal anybody.
Absolutely not. But you keep people in want and need and despair, so that all they did is keep wanting more.
Into a communist podcast real quick.
They keep wanting more. It's not communist. This is how the upper class controls the lower class without fucking trying.
Right, but then once you think about it, it's like, well, let's bring them down a little bit, us up a little bit, and suddenly we're all on the same level doing all the same thing. That's communism.
Absolutely, and I bitch about the divide of class, and I mean huge divide between classes. And I'm talking about upper class people who have no fucking care and worry about money, and people who live paycheck to paycheck. And I'm sure there's a little middle ground there you could argue where there's people who are comfortable, but they still have to work, relatively demanding schedule and stuff like that. And I'm not offering for even 1 second that the fix for this is to just fucking give people shit. Because, I am unemployed, okay? And I would fucking take money if somebody gave it to me, okay? And as with anybody, you're employed and you take money from somebody if they want to just give it to you.
Absolutely.
Why wouldn't you?
Right.
Somebody says, here's $1,000. Here's $10. I'm like, thanks,
Here's
bro.
$2.
Whatever it is, here's $1. I'm like, fuck yeah, I had a soda from the vending machine, you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
But in no way is the fix for the problem to give people money. Because if you give people money, they have the same money that you have.
Fuck it off.
Or they spend it all and they're back in the same place. So, I'm not saying that that's the fix. I don't even know that there is a fix because I don't think there can't be a fix.
There is no fix.
There can't be a fix, and you know why? Because the world needs poor people to work in their warehouses and in their factories.
Communism, people.
Communism.
No, it sucks, dude. It sucks. It sucks so fucking much. There is no fix for the problems that we have because we didn't fix them when they were happening. Now, this is what we do on a day-to-day basis, like what Rose is doing. She made all this stuff, now she's cleaning up her mess so that we can start back over again. That is not what society did. Society left their mess, added to it, and added to it, and added to it. So now that the very bottom of the mess you can't see anymore, it's gone.
Yeah.
Instead, there's just the top of the mess.
And it's in your face, and
And
you're
it's
walking
forever
through
cavern.
it. Yeah. You keep walking through it.
Yeah, it's too far. It's too fucking far. And we live in America where it's a democracy, and we're against communism. We've had witch hunts where we got rid of a bunch of communists. And, we don't want to live in a communist society where someone does all the work and someone does no work and everyone's still equal. Clearly, communism is not the right thing. But to talk about bringing upper down and lower up is kind of talking about communism, but that's not what we're talking about. We're talking about making things equal, fixing things so that people can still do the work they do and earn. Now,
Here, okay.
no.
Go ahead.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
I work at a place where everybody works their ass off. To an extent, everyone gets around. But then we've got these supervisors that it seems like they don't do anything, and yet they're making more money and doing less work. Like, how is that fair? Now, once again, that comes back to communism, and communism gets people lynched and killed and deported and arrested and everything. But I'm not talking about communism. I'm talking about, like, how come the supervisors who get to sit in their office and fucking talk to their buddies and send an email back and forth, how come they get the money to tell us what to do when we know our job better than they fucking do? These people can go and they can fuck off and walk around and have these meetings about this and about that, but they're not doing any of the hard work. We're doing all the hard work. Supervisors need to be paid less, and the people who do all the actual physical labor fucking carpal tunnel syndrome, hurting their backs, hurting their legs, hurting their arms, risking their lives in a physical job, and they're making less money than someone who does not do any of the work, who does not put the risk. These supervisors do not have any fucking risk. We get errors, and we get in trouble, and we get fired. They do not get any errors. They do not have any risk. They do not have anything to worry about whatsoever.
Yeah, there's no threat on their job. Because their job doesn't actually entail doing anything.
And they get the money on a salary basis, and whether they come into work or not, they're not losing any money if they take a day off, they leave early. They are still making all the money they make. They don't clock in, they don't clock out.
So I'll tell you what fixes the problem.
Please.
It's not even giving you a raise. Giving the people who do the hard work a raise. If they give you a raise, they just have to pay the supervisors more. So they just make more money than you would make anyway.
Okay.
The real fix for the problem is the supervisor's always going to make more money than you. The supervisor's supposed to be responsible for what you're doing. And you're supposed to be responsible to that supervisor for what you're supposed to do. Okay?
Okay.
And that supervisor, in turn, is responsible to his supervisor for what you are doing on down the line.
Sure.
See what I'm saying? So
Yeah, no.
your performance affects his performance, and then your performance is his performance. See what I'm saying? And that's not really fair because you guys are doing the hard work, but you have the job that requires hard work. He has the job where he sits at a desk and does whatever he does. I don't know that job. I don't know what he does. The real fix is to make it so that our currency isn't so devalued. Look at money now versus money in 1965.
Inflation.
Before
Inflation.
Before we went off of a metal standard, you could buy gasoline for
Nickel.
20. It was about 25 cents a gallon back in the 60s, mid 60s. 25 cents a gallon. My truck takes about 20 gallons to fill up.
$40. No, not even.
Not even 40 bucks.
Not even 40
it's like
bucks.
fucking $10.
For 20 cents a gallon.
Whatever it is.
Sure.
So
Makes me sound like an idiot.
if you do the math across the board, what you get for $1 or 25 cents, $1 in 1965 is worth about 25 of our today dollars.
And it just fucking
So,
accumulates.
If you take 25 of your dollars and make that $1, that's basically what you're saying.
Right.
For every $25 you have to spend, you get $1's value.
Yeah.
So make it so that when you spend $1, you get $1's value instead of having to spend $25 value for $1 value. Revalue the currency. Base the currency on something. Going off of
That has
off
nothing
of a metal.
to do with the supervisors.
It does, because when you revalue currency, okay, milk now is $3, right?
Okay.
Let's say milk is $3, just good round number.
For a gallon.
For a gallon of milk. Back in 1965, who knows? It was
5 cents.
a nickel, a quarter, whatever it was. Let's call it a quarter.
Oh,
Gas and milk are usually pretty close in relationship.
Okay.
But gas
Sure.
has
$2 a
gone
gallon.
gas has gone from $20 or from 25 cents a gallon to $3 and $4 a gallon. We're back down to a couple of dollars a gallon now. But think about the buying power if one of your dollars bought $1 worth of goods
Instead of my dollar.
instead
buying
of
a quarter's
a quarter's worth of goods. Exactly. So if you change that up, you flip that system back to where it was. Rose doesn't have to work. So one of you can have a regular job where you work for.
No!
Listen. One person can support a household on an honest, hardworking job.
This sounds like communist talk to
No,
me.
it's not communist talk. What I'm saying, Rose is your wife, or will be your wife soon. Okay? What I'm getting at is it shouldn't take two people to run a household. Okay? It shouldn't take two full-time incomes to support a household where you buy, how much you spend on groceries, couple $100 a month.
Yeah, let's go. We try to do $100 a week.
You guys spend $100 a week in groceries?
We try to keep it at $100 a week.
I'm
Whether
jealous.
we do or not,
I spend $200 a month on groceries.
Whether we do or not, sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less.
Sure. But it shouldn't take two people working 40 plus hours a week to make that happen. You should have. That's where America went wrong. Dad should be working, mom should be home raising kids.
Or vice versa.
Or vice versa if you like it that way. That's fine with me.
I'm a feminist.
You are a feminist
Keep
to
it real,
a fault.
okay?
What I'm getting at is there should be a parent at home raising kids. Now, if you guys don't have kids, it doesn't matter. What I'm getting at is financially, it shouldn't take two incomes to run a household. It never did before.
Now, what does this have to do with the supervisor doing no work, making more money?
Would you be as pissed if you didn't have to worry about it? You're never going to like your supervisor because he's always your boss and you always think that you're working harder than your supervisor. Every fucking job you ever...
I'm working harder
That's
than
what
my
I'm
supervisor.
saying. That's your job.
Whether I think that I
You know
am...
how to fix that? Become a supervisor.
No.
That's the only thing that fixes that. You know why? Because the supervisor's job is not to pick and pack orders. It's not to unload and load trucks. The supervisor's job is to make sure that you're doing your job.
Why do they get paid more money to do that?
Because apparently they're more responsible than you are. Somebody thinks that that position is worth more money than your position is. Now, you could make a case to an upper management if you could show financially that you don't need those supervisors, whatever their job entails. If you could show that your job could do that work as well as your own work and get rid of the supervisor, they could give you all raises and get rid of the supervisors.
Now that's what I'm talking
Show
about.
cost-benefit analysis.
They should fucking put these supervisors doing some of the physical work that I'm doing.
What you have to do is you have to have
You know what?
cost-benefit.
I'm not.
You have to have cost-benefit.
No, fuck it.
I'm just saying, for a position to make sense, there has to be cost-benefit.
I understand.
So you make the money for the company. Your job makes the money for the company. Next to the little boy in China that's making the shit in the sweatshop,
No, check this out.
your job makes
Check
the money
this out.
for that business.
If they got rid of all the supervisors who don't actually pick the orders, who don't fix the merchandise for the people, that company would still run. That company would still make money. These people would
Exactly.
still get their merchandise. But if you got rid of all the people who are doing the work, who are making less money, there would be no one to get the work done.
And I'm not arguing that fact. Listen up, Mr. JCPenney. Matthew Bonta.
No,
Okay?
fuck it.
No,
Don't even-
listen up.
I'll probably get fired for this podcast.
No, fuck that. This is freedom of speech. Fucking numero uno. Okay, you can say whatever the fuck you want. You're not bad-mouthing the company because the company is great to work for. They have superior products to many other companies.
Right.
When
So
I'm
every company where there's a supervisor who fucks off while the worker works.
absolutely get rid of these slack job faggots that are standing around
not
doing
to offend.
doing fucking dick all. Okay, they're not doing shit to make this company money. You got hardworking people busting their asses, breaking their backs. You know, you have fucking all these, like you were talking about earlier, carpal tunnel, back injuries.
Physical work.
Physical work creates physical injury. Okay? I was a mechanic for 10 fucking years. Okay? I made $13 an hour. I'm 30 years old. I have had back surgery already. Okay? Working on cars, not good for your body. Loading and unloading trucks, picking, packing orders, working in a warehouse. Guess what, folks? Not fucking good for your body. Okay, all of these things come together, and let's face it. Let's pay the people who make the company's money. Let's pay those people who make the company's money what they're fucking worth. Make them want to be part of that company. Make them want to work harder for your company. I'm going to leave it there.
That got real quick. All right, let's end it there, and we will talk about.
Chappie was a fucking great movie, by the way.
Have I been calling it Choppy?
It's Chappie.
Fuck. All right.
We'll bring back Chappie on the next
Choppy next episode.
episode.
All right, thanks for listening. I'm Matt Bonta.
And I'm Corey Easley.
Take it easy.
Take it easy.